Welcome back students on your own YouTube channel Beautiful Physics, and I am Manojit Singh. Today we will discuss about our new topic, energy stored in a capacitor. Okay, energy stored in a capacitor. How energy is stored in a capacitor. When we are charging, suppose if we have a parallel plate capacitor and initially it is uncharged. When it is charged, suppose we are giving the charge to parallel plate capacitor, and these are the plates of the parallel plate capacitor. When we are charging it, suppose plate A acquires positive charge and plate B acquires negative charge. Suppose the charge density on each plate is sigma, positive and negative, and area of cross section, let it be represented by capital A. Area of the each plate is capital A. So here, if a positive charge is transferred from plate B to plate A, suppose a positive charge is transferred from plate B to A, then some work has to be done. Okay, and that particular small amount of work done can be written as small amount of work done, dW, can be written as potential V times the charge transferred, dQ. Here dQ represents the small amount of charge that is transferred from plate B to A, and due to which some potential is changed. Okay, so V will be equals to dW, the small amount of work done, will be equals to potential times small amount of charge that is transferred from plate B to A, and we know that Q is equals to CV. So we can write in place of V as Q divided by C. Okay, using this result in the above equation, we have the work done dW will be equals to Q by C times dQ. It is the small amount of work done in transferring the charge dQ from plate B to A, and while we are charging the capacitor, a lot of charge is transferred from plate B to A. Then the total work done will be equals to the integration of a small amount of work done. So W will be equals to dW, and it will be equals to 1 by C can be taken outside, and integration of Q dQ, and the integration of Q will be equals to Q square divided by 2. Q square divided by 2. So the work done is equals to Q square divided by 2C, and this work done is stored in the form of energy. This work done is stored in the form of energy, and it can be written by U. U will be equals to Q square divided by 2C. We can it is the first form of the energy stored in a capacitor. We can derive two more forms of energy stored in a capacitor by using the same formula. Q is equals to CV. When we put the value of Q from Q is equals to CV, then we have CV in place of Q, it will be square, and 2C it will be equals to C square V square divided by 2C. 1C will be cancelled out here, then it will be equals to half C V square. It is the next form of the energy stored in a capacitor. Or if we place the value of C, if we put the value of C from there, we have the value of C will be equals to Q by V, then Q square divided by 2, and the value of V from here will be equals to Q by C. So Q C will be goes upside, and Q will be cancels out, then the energy stored will be equals to half Q C. Okay, half QC. So we have three forms of energy stored in a capacitor written in the form. First is U is equals to Q square divided by 2C. Second one is half C V square, and third one is half of QC. Okay, half of QC. So this is the energy stored in a capacitor. Okay, this is the energy stored in a single capacitor. Suppose we were discussing about the combination of capacitors, then we have to integrate this result as, suppose we are discussing about the series combination of capacitors. In case of series combination, first we are taking the case of series combination. Series combination, we know that in series combination charge remains constant. Charge remains constant in series combination. So we will use the energy stored in the form of Q square by 2C, Q square divided by 2C, and it can be written in the form Q square divided by 2 into 1 by C, and we know that 1 by C represents the total capacitance of the series combination, and it will be equals to Q square divided by C. We know that in series combination the total capacitance will be equals to 1 by C will be equals to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3 up to 1 by Cn. Okay, so in place of 1 by C we can write 1 by C1 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3 up to so on. Okay, then when we multiply Q square by 2, we have Q square by 2 C1 plus Q square divided by 2 C2 plus Q square divided by 2 C3 up to Q square divided by 2 Cn, and it will be equals to energy stored in the first capacitor in the series combination. We can write it as U1. Similarly, it is the energy stored in the second capacitor in the series combination. We can write it as U2. Similarly, U3 up to Un. Okay, so this is the energy stored in the series combination. Energy stored in the series combination. Now let's take the case of parallel combination. In case of parallel combination, we know that the potential remains constant. We know that the potential remains constant in case of parallel combination, and in parallel combination, the net capacitance will be equals to C1 plus C2 plus C3 up to Cn. Okay, here we are the potential remains constant in series combination. So in parallel combination, so we will use the formula half of C V square, as V remains constant and 1 by 2 is also a constant. So 1 by 2 V square. In place of C we can write the net capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. Parallel combination of capacitances, then C will be equals to C1 plus C2 plus C3 up to Cn. When you multiply the terms, again we have 1 by 2 C1 V square plus 1 by 2 C2 V square up to 1 by 2 Cn V square, and it represents the energy stored in the first capacitor. So we can write it by U1. Similarly, it represents the energy stored in the second capacitor. It can be written by U2. Similarly, up to Un. So the energy stored in both the combinations, as whether it is a series combination or a parallel combination, will be equal to U1 plus U2 plus U3 up to UN means the energy stored in the series combination as well as in the parallel combination will will be equals to the sum of the individual energies stored in the capacitances in the combination present. Okay, so our next topic is redistribution of charge and loss of energy. So firstly we will discuss about the redistribution of charge, and after that one we will discuss about the loss of energy. Before doing the redistribution of charge and loss of energy, firstly we will discuss about the energy density and the energy stored energy. You can say the stored energy. Let's discuss about first the energy density. Energy density. As the name suggests, density means mass per unit volume. But here we are discussing about the term energy density. So it will be energy per unit volume is known as energy density, and the energy stored per unit volume between the plates of a capacitor is known as energy density. And we have to find an expression for the energy stored energy density in a parallel plate capacitor. Again we are considering the same case. Suppose we have a parallel plate capacitor having two plates A and B, and plate A is positively charged, having charge density of plus sigma, and plate B is negatively charged, having a charge density of minus sigma, and each plate having the area of cross section A. Each plate is having the same area of cross section A. We know that the electric field between the plates, electric field between the plates of the capacitor is written by E, and it will be equals to sigma by epsilon naught. Okay, E is equals to sigma by epsilon naught, and sigma, we know that sigma is the surface charge density, and it will be equals to Q by A. Suppose Q is the charge on each plate, then surface charge density sigma will be equals to Q by A, and from there we have Q is equals to sigma times A, and from the above equation we can find the value of sigma, and sigma will be equals to epsilon times electric field. When we put the value of sigma, we have charge epsilon naught E times A. Okay, this is the expression for the charge on the each plate of the parallel plate capacitor, and it is equals to epsilon naught times E A. Here E is the electric field, A is the area of cross section, and epsilon naught represents the permittivity of the space between the plates. Okay. Now, as we know that the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor, the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor is written by C, and it will be equals to epsilon naught A by D. Here D is the separation between the plates. Here D is the separation between the plates, and the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor is epsilon naught A by D. We already derived this relation. Okay, so we have to find the energy density. Okay, so the energy will be equals to capacitance, potential, and it will be equals to energy. So firstly we will find the energy, after that we will find the energy density. we know that the energy is equals to q square divided by 2c. So we have the value for q, and q will be equals to epsilon naught e a square divided by 2c, and the value of c is epsilon naught a. Epsilon naught a divided by d, it will goes upside, and we have epsilon naught square e square a square d divided by 2 times of epsilon naught a. A and 1 epsilon naught will cancels out, and we have the terms u energy is equals to 1 by 2 e 1 by 2 epsilon naught e square a into d. Here a into d represents the volume between the parallel plates. Suppose a is the area of cross sections. These are the two plates having area of cross section a. Each plate having area of cross section a, and b is the separation. Then the area of the each plate multiplied by the separation between the plates will be equals to volume. So here the term AD represents the volume between the parallel plates of the capacitor. So we have to find out the energy density, and energy density is equals to energy per unit volume. Here is our energy and it is the volume. So when we divide the energy by volume, it will be equals to 1 by 2 epsilon naught E square, and it is the energy density. It is the energy density of the parallel energy density of the parallel plate capacitor, or we can say it is the energy density stored between the plates of the capacitor, and the expression is half epsilon naught E square. So now we will discuss about the redistribution of charge and loss of energy. Redistribution of charge and loss of energy. Redistribution of charge and loss of energy. Suppose we have two conductors on the two insulating stands. Suppose this is conductor A and this is another conductor B. It is also on another insulating stand, and suppose these two conductors were charged. One is suppose the conductor A is heavily charged, and conductor B is also charged, but the charge density on the conductor B is less than the charge density on conductor A. Okay, so if they have some charge, then they definitely have some potential. Suppose conductor A have charge Q1 and conductor B have charge Q2. Okay, if they have some charge, then they will definitely have some potential. Suppose A have potential V1 and B have potential V2, and we know that Q is equals to CV. So if they have Q1 amount of charge and V1 potential, then they have some capacitance C1 also. Okay, and similarly the conductor B have some capacitance C2. So charge on conductor A. So firstly we are discussing about the case when there is no distribution of charge, means both of the conductors were physically separated from each other. So charge before redistribution, charge before redistribution will be equals to q1 plus q2. Total charge, we are taking the case of total charge from the conductor A and B, and it will be equals to q1 plus q2, and we know that q is equals to cv, so q1 will be equals to c1 v1 and q2 will be equals to c2 v2. Okay, suppose now the conductors were connected by some thin wire. As the conductors were connected from thin wires, charge starts flowing from higher potential to lower potential, and it will flows till both the conductors acquires a common potential. Okay, so if we write the case charge after redistribution, then charge after redistribution, it will be again equals to q1 plus q2 according to law of conservation of charge. Charge will remains the same, it will again equals to q1 plus q2, but now the capacitors, now the conductors were acquires a common potential V. So we can write in place of q1 as c1v plus in place of q2 we can write c2v. Okay, in place of c1v plus c2v is equals to q1 plus q2. If we compare both the equation first and second from equation 1 and equation 2, we have, if the left hand side of the equations are equal, then the right hand side will also be equal. So c1v plus c2v will be equals to c1v1 plus c2v2. We can take v common from there, then c1 plus c2 is equals to c1v1 plus c2v2, and v will be equals to c1 v1 plus c2 v2 by c1 plus c2. It is the result for the common potential acquired by the conductors when the charge is redistributed. Okay, it is the expression for the common potential when charge is redistributed, means charge is transferred from conductor A to B, or we can simply say charge is transferred from higher potential to lower potential, and both the conductors acquires a common potential, and the value of that common potential will be equals to c1 plus c1 v1 plus c2 v2 by c1 plus c2. Okay, let's write this result here because it is used in the next expression, c1 v1 plus c2 v2 by c1 plus c2. Okay, this is the common potential. Now we will discuss about the loss of energy during the redistribution. Okay, loss of energy during the redistribution. Firstly, we will take the case of energy stored before the redistribution. Energy stored before the redistribution, or we can simply say the initial energy of the system. Initial energy of the system. Initial energy of the system will be equals to suppose it is ui. I am writing initial energy by ui, and it will be equals to energy of capacitor conductor A and energy of conductor B, and it will be equals to half of c1 v1 square plus half of c2 v2 square. Okay, after redistribution, final energy I am writing it by U F, it will be equals to again energy of the conductor A and plus energy of conductor B. So it will be equals to 1 by 2 C1, but after redistribution both the conductors have same common potential V. Okay, so it will be equals to 1 by 2 C1 V square plus 1 by 2 C2 V square, or final energy will be 1 by 2 can be taken as common, and we have C1 plus C2 and it will be V square, and final energy will be equals to 1 by 2 C1 plus C2, and in place of V common potential we can write this expression. So we have C1 V1 plus C2 V2 divided by C1 plus C2 whole square. So the final energy UF will be equals to 1 by 2 C1 plus C2, and here C1 V1 plus C2 V2 square divided by C1 plus C2 whole square. One term will be cancels out. So the final energy UF will be equals to half of C1 V1 plus C2 V2 square divided by C1 plus C2. Okay, this is the final energy after redistribution of charge, and this is the initial energy before the redistribution of charge. And we have to find out the loss of energy. Here the energy is lost in the form of heat, and we have to find the that particular energy which is lost in the form of heat. Okay, so when we are finding the loss of energy during redistribution, we have to subtract the final energy from the initial energy, because we are finding the loss here. So loss of energy will be equals to delta U, and it will be equals to initial energy minus final energy. Okay, and initial energy is here is half of delta U will be equals to half of C1 V1 square plus half of C2 V2 square, and in place of final energy we can write half of C1 V1 plus C2 V2 whole square divided by C1 plus C2. Okay, now 1 by 2 can be taken as common. We have 1 by 2 into C1 V1 square plus C2 V2 square minus of, we can open the whole square, C1 square V1 square plus C2 square V2 square plus 2 times of C1 C2 V1 V2 divided by C1 plus C2. Okay, now we have to take the LCM. Now we have to take the LCM of the terms. If we take the LCM, then we have delta U will be equals to 1 by 2 is common from the each term, and LCM will be C1 plus C2, and the LCM C1 plus C2 is multiplied by each term. Then we have C1 V1 square into C1 plus C2 plus here C2 V2 square multiplied by C1 plus C2, and this negative sign goes inside. When it is multiplied inside, then we have C1 minus of C1 square V1 square minus of C2 square V2 square, and also minus of 2 C1 C2 V1 V2. Okay, and we have this result. Now multiply these terms. We have 1 by 2. When we multiply C1 V1 square. Inside we have C1 square V1 square plus C1 C2 V1 square. Similarly for this term we have C1 C2 V2 square plus C2 square V2 square minus of this term minus C1 square V1 square minus of C2 square V2 square minus of 2 C1 C2 V1 V2 divided by C1 plus C2 divided by C1 plus C2. We can see that here we have C1 square V1 square with positive sign and we have C1 square V1 square with negative sign. So these terms will cancel out each other. Again we have C2 square V2 square with positive sign and here we have C2 square V2 square with negative sign. So these terms will also cancel out. We have delta U loss of energy will be equals to 1 by 2 and we have the terms C1 C2 V1 square plus C1 C2 V2 square plus minus 2 C1 C2 V1 V2 divided by C1 plus C2. From the above terms we can take C1 C2 C1 C2 C1 C2 as common. So we have delta U loss of energy will be equals to 1 by 2 times of C1 C2 divided by C1 plus C2 and here we have the terms V1 square plus V2 square minus 2 times of V1 V2. Okay, here we can use the formula a square plus b square minus 2ab and it will be equals to a square minus b square. So it will be equals to 1 by 2 times of C1 C2 by C1 plus C2 into V1 minus V2 whole square. So this is the loss of energy during redistribution of charge and delta U will be equals to half C1 C2 by C1 plus C2 into V1 minus V2 whole square or it will be equals to delta U 1 by 2 C1 C2 divided by C1 plus C2 V2 minus V1 whole square. In place of V1 minus V2 whole square we can also write V1 minus V2 minus V1 whole square because both the quantities were same. So this is the expression for the loss of energy during the redistribution of charge when two conductors which were initially one is heavily charged and another is charged but lesser than the previous one. So when they were joined or simply connected with a conducting wire, then charge is transferred from higher potential to lower potential. So while transferring the charge, some energy is lost in the form of heat and that particular energy will be equals to half of C1 C2 divided by C1 plus C2 into V1 minus V2 whole square. Here the C1 and C2 represents the capacitances of the conductors A and B and V represents V1 and V2 represents the initial potentials of the conductors. Okay, hope you guys understand these topics. Thank you. Have a nice day.